What's up, everybody? It's the Best Spot Kid Smooth back with another video. It's been a while, man. A lot of the content I've been doing has been wishy-washy. Some of the skits I've been doing, I did a stretch of that. So some of these type of videos are few and far between. But it's that time. Xbox is starting to make some noise. They starting to market, starting to advertise. Honestly, this video was going to be completely different had Xbox didn't do what I anticipated to do, and that is talk about Hellblade 2. And yes, they did. Yes, indeed. A few journalists got to go out and play Hellblade. They flew out to Ninja Theory Studio and they showed them the game. All the articles about it, all the previews are very positive. People are saying this is next gen. This looks next gen. It feels next gen. And that's all you want to hear when it comes to video games, a brand new video game, and of course Xbox game, an Xbox game that's getting positive reception on the previews. Now, of course, with Xbox good news, it always come with some bad news. Now, this one is probably warranted, and I think this bad news is only bad news for other releases. So, Hellblade 2, best looking game by far. Active game, playable game that anyone has played is the best looking game by far. That's what they're saying. That's what it looks like to be, right? Best looking game. The graphics, the story, the voicing, the voice acting, and everything is on par, right? It's a $50 game. It's not $70. That's a plus for people who like to save money, and it's day one on Game Pass. That's a plus. It's a negative if people just think every game needs to be $70 and anything cheaper can't be taken serious. The other thing that's considered a negative here is that along with this reveal, they actually had to confirm the specs, because if it wasn't for Digital Foundry's existence, no one would need to ask or wonder what frame rate and what resolution any of these games would be running had it not been for Digital Foundry's existence. They have confirmed Hellblade 2 is a filmic cinematic 30 frames per second. There is no graphics options. There is no performance options. You will only get to play this at frame rates higher than 30 FPS if you have a PC capable of doing it. And fair enough. Now, Xbox is touted to be the most powerful console, right, current day, until the PS5 Pro finally comes out, right? Then it could take that title. But on paper, per teraflops, Xbox Series X the most powerful console. And unfortunately, when it comes to next generation releases, first party releases, Xbox has launched multiple games on their next gen console that has either locked at 30 FPS, that has locked at 30 FPS without giving you a performance mode. Launch. Those games were like Microsoft Flight Sim. I don't count because it ran at an unlocked FPS. So some skies you get 60, some skies you get 45, some skies it didn't have a locked FPS. But clearly it was a game that couldn't target 60 FPS through and through. It would have been a 30 second per second release, but it's an unlocked FPS, so I don't count Flight Sim. But for their major titles, like Redfall was the first one to start off. I think it actually started with Medium, but Medium is not a first-party game. It's not a first-party game, so don't get credit for that. Redfall is the problem for it, and Redfall was the worst game to kick it off because Redfall was not a visual impressive game. It was okay. It was average. It was not something that would say, okay, they need to crank down the visuals to get 60 FPS, because by the time they patched in 60 FPS, there's a performance mode for Redfall. The visuals don't look any different from what they've done in their crappy quality mode. So you had Redfall, which didn't do anything graphically impressive. It wasn't doing anything next gen that would scream like, okay, this game needs to run at 30 FPS. It wasn't on Xbox One, so it was very, very strongly disappointing why it did not have a performance mode. It made no sense. It was a first person shooter. Sure, it was open world, but it wasn't the first open world shooter to ever exist. So it had no reason. It was ugly, and it kind of set off the bad precedent. So now the thing was for Redfall, people just assumed it would be 60 FPS. And I think when they showed it off, they showed off the PC, which was running at a higher frame rate and stuff like that. Now, mind you, Redfall is 60 FPS today. It's no longer an issue. But at launch, right? Then Starfield. Starfield was the most anticipated game last year. You know, big game in scope, and it was 30 FPS, no performance option. The game can run at 60 FPS on a PC, and PCs that aren't quite as strong as the Xbox Series X, it could still hit 60 FPS. Now they got these new FSR updates and frame gen, all this other stuff that they're doing on the PC side, things that the Xbox Series X is fully capable of. There's still no unlock FPS mode, no performance mode. And now the excuse for Starfield was that it's CPU heavy. There's so much going on. It's a grand scope game with the potato effects, all this stuff like that. And we bought into it, but it hurts because Redfall should have been 60 FPS. We would have excused Starfield had it not been for Redfall. Now, fast forward to Hellblade 2, which is a over-the-shoulder third-person action story-driven game. Slow moving, slow pace. It's not an open world game. It's very controlled environments. It's highly detailed visually, graphically. Sure, it is. It's running on Unreal Engine 5, and it's right now the best looking Unreal Engine 5 game that we all have experienced so far until Gear 6 finally comes out, right? That's what we're looking at. But it's running at 30 FPS with no 60. So this is the third major game from Xbox, the most powerful console from the richest company, and they're not able to get a performance mode. Now, me personally, again, I said a whole lot of crap towards PlayStation and PlayStation fans, and I haven't been able to back it up. I've made songs. I haven't been able to back it up. PlayStation has not launched a game without a performance mode. Whether it's cross-gen or next-gen, all their big major releases has at least a performance mode. Now, granted, those performance modes when they did drop weren't the prettiest. Like I remember Horizon's performance mode when it first came out. Ooh, that thing was noisy. But over time it got better. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, whatever, has a performance mode. Ooh, but it ain't recommended, But that's no excuse for a Hellblade 2. Now, I'm going to tell you this, right? I've wisened up from years past, right? I wisened up. Me personally, I'm going to play Hellblade 2. I played the first one. I played it, about the time it came to Xbox, there was a 60 FPS option because of the Xbox One X. And I played it again on Xbox Series X at 120 FPS. They added ray tracing, all that stuff. So Hellblade 1 got a bunch of graphics modes available to it right now. But this one is tough, but you can see it's a graphically demanding game, and nobody's falling for the excuse, oh, we want to be the cinematic, because games can feel cinematic at 60 FPS. It looks damn good. Take nothing away from it. It's the best looking game so far of next gen. It's a truly next gen looking game. Am I bothered? I'm no longer bothered because I've been what's the word they be using when they be making fun of us? I'm accustomed to it. It's tolerable. Before I thought I could never go back, but I played Redfall. Actually, I couldn't do it on Redfall. I opted to play Redfall on PC, but I turned out I didn't even like the game. I re-downloaded it after a few patches. They patched it on Xbox. Downloaded it. It's at a better frame rate for sure, but I'm still not. It's something about Redfall I'm still not feeling. I'm just not having fun with it. Starfield, I played whatever. I played like majority of the game on Xbox at 30 FPS. I just felt like however they optimized the game, they optimized it to a degree that it wasn't a glaring issue. Sure, I played it on PC at 60 FPS for sure. I had a blast. So I think did I end up finishing the game on PC? I think I finished the game on PC, and I'm probably gonna do the DLC on PC if they don't drop a Xbox patch for it. But I got the majority through Starfield without at 30 FPS, and it wasn't really a bother to me. I think the game played. I don't know if it was the motion blur or the quality of the motion blur or whatever. It just I still think it looked good. I think it played good. I can't come up with a reason why there was no 60 FPS option. They could have definitely done one, considering what PCs are able to do, Rogue Ally is able to do. They should have at least unlocked the frame rate, especially with all that AMD like technology they got running. That's an AMD sponsored game, and they didn't do it. Hellblade. Now, Hellblade having a I have no excuse for Hellblade, but I'm gonna say this: if Hellblade having a performance mode, a 60, like my thing is that I've seen what RoboCop look like. Not bad, still looks good at 60 FPS. You know, still looks tremendous. But if I have to go by what Final Fantasy 7 does in performance mode, or what Stellar Blade does in performance mode, I can see that image not being as good. Like, that's a good image. And what I may do if I find that the 30 FPS is too, if it's that jarring. But when you consider what Hellblade is, it's not a heavy action game. It really isn't. And I did the medium. I thought the medium was fine too. But it's not like a heavy action game where you're combat, you're fighting multiple enemies at once. They say you fight one enemy at a time. It's just that they did it so delicately that you still get that same rush. And my thing is that I'm going to try it on PC, right? And the thing is that my PC, usually when games don't target 60 F or not, like there's no 60 FPS option on Xbox, that same game on PC for me typically becomes a problem, meaning I struggle to get 60 FPS for some reason. I have a 3070 Ti. It's a bottleneck card. It's a bottleneck graphics card because it doesn't have 16 gigs. I think it's like 8 gigs or something like that. I'm gonna try it on PC, and if I could get that same quality at 60 FPS on my PC, then I'll probably run a game on PC and no problem. It's on Game Pass. It has Xbox achievements, whatever. I'll play with the Xbox controller. Call it a day. If it doesn't make a difference, right, to me, like for example, if I struggle to get 60 FPS, if I'm hanging around 40s and 50s and whatnot, and then could only like get it where it's 60 FPS sometimes, then I don't think it's worth it. If they manage to lock with the good motion blur and it plays well, it's fine. If it's a struggling 30 FPS, then yeah, by default I'll play at PC. But from what they said, and all the previews were represented on Xbox Series X, I have no problem playing it at 30 FPS. I know I sound like a fraud, a cornball, or whatever, going against my word, but I already apologize for my comments on 30 FPS. There's a ton of games, again, that, especially UE5 games. I think Immortals of Avenom is a UE5 game. Game looks beautiful at 30 FPS, but I play at 60 FPS because the type of game it is essentially a first-person magic shooter. And I like the speed of 60 FPS. It's not a locked 60 FPS. It's not a consistent 60 FPS. It's very inconsistent, which is why I dropped the game. And I'm waiting for the FSR update, the frame gen update for that game before I resume it. I don't think I'll have that issue with Hellblade. It's the best looking game. It looks good, and it looks like it's going to be Xbox true game of the year contender when it launches. It got a lot going against it. People hate that it's going to be only 7 to 8 hours. People hate that it's $50. People hate that it's only on Xbox for now. People hate the fact that it might even touch a PlayStation in the future because we can't trust what Xbox says. And people hate that it's 30 FPS on the Xbox. But at the end of the day, man, I think this is going to be a banger. Looks good, and looking forward to playing with it. As always, guys, Xbox is the best box. I am the best spot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.